All right. Good afternoon. I can't believe it's November. I'm excited that it's November because we have new things coming down the pike. We always talk about blogging and writing in November. So if you're with us on Zoom, in the Zoom room, on Facebook live streaming into our free group, or if you're watching this replay later, you're with the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. I'm Karen Lindwall-Borg, the NACWE president, and it's November. The theme for the entire year has been level up your entrepreneur endeavors. The theme for November is level up your blogging and writing. I love that. The lineup for this whole month, I'm just going to go through it really, really quickly, and everything you need will be put into the comments in live stream to Facebook and comments in the Zoom room. You don't have to worry about writing anything down or taking a picture of anything like that. We're going to make sure you've got everything you need to know, even if you didn't want to know it probably. But the lineup is that we're going to start. There's no better way to start out talking about blogging than with Elayna Fernandez, because she has one of the most successful blogs I've ever seen, and I've been around online for a while. I've learned a ton from her. I kind of am a groupie, kind of watch what she does, and if she does anything in Fort Worth area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'm always signing up for it and dragging people along with me as well. This is a great way to start the month. She's in the group, her daughters are in the group. We'll be making sure that they stay in there for a while. You can pound them with questions all month long if you need to, because there's no better resource for blogging than what we're starting out with. We're starting out with Elayna. We're going to hear from one of her teenage daughters, Elayna. We're going to hear from one of her teenage daughters, Alyssa, and we're going to hear from Jennifer Waddle, Leanne Fox, and Kathy Diener Weidenhouse. Also, all people who have successful blogs and who kind of know more than I know about how to keep your blog up and running and that sort of thing. I'll put the titles in the chat room if you need them, but they're in the Facebook group. They're right front and center in the Facebook group multiple times. Everything you needed to know but were afraid to ask is there. Don't be afraid to ask. Just some real quick news from NACWE. If you didn't get to attend the conference and you still want to watch all of the replays from the conference, they're packaged in a beautiful classroom. You can still sign up to receive the replays from the conference through Thanksgiving Eve if you want to, and then we're going to shut that down. It's in the classroom, but it's not available for everyone in the classroom. And the classroom has about 1,000 offerings in it. So this one's kind of set aside special, and it was amazing. I'm so grateful to everyone who was there. We'll also give you a sneak peek of the conference magazine, so you can see every title and everything you're going to get in that classroom. Then we want you to save the date, September 22nd through 25th, for a Woman of Power conference. The NACWE conference for 2022 is already planned. I have a feeling we're getting ready to meet our keynote speaker in about 1 month. I'm really excited about that, so pray for wisdom about that. Hey, Jackie. We had someone in and we lost them. Hopefully they can get back in. We're rolling out Classy NACWE Sisters, so I'm not going to go into great detail because everything you need to know about this is going to be in the group, in the free group, and everywhere. But we're going to take that NACWE member group that you're so used to, and you've been there for years, and shut it down on Thanksgiving Eve and start fresh with kind of a new way of rolling out things that are in the classroom, making sure you have them right at your fingertips. So for example, in November, in the NACWE members group until Thanksgiving Eve, and in the new Classy NACWE Sisters Forum, you're going to get a feed of what's in the classroom related to blogging and writing every single day. Take advantage of it. Don't take advantage of it. We don't want to overwhelm you, but we want it to be right at your fingertips. Nugget. It's like a gold mine. That NACWE classroom, we realize, goes on for miles, many more miles than we realized that it did before we put the Classy NACWE Sisters catalog, classroom catalog together. We'll give you a sneak peek at that entire catalog as well. So if you're thinking, wait a minute, I don't want to miss NACWE members group. I need to get into this new group. If you're speaking for us, Elayna and Alyssa and Jennifer and Leanne and Kathy, you're already in. We're going to get you in there. That's our gift to you, valued at about, we figured about $1,200. We added it all up, about $1,299. That's our gift to you to thank you for speaking for us. If you spoke to us in 2021, we'll get you in there somehow. And then if you didn't speak for us and you're ready to jump in there, this is how you get there. We'll put this in the chat room for you. If you join in November and you joined for a 6-month package, we're going to give you the next up package. We're going to level you up in keeping with the theme of level up your entrepreneur endeavors. If you purchased a NACWE conference ticket, and it's not too late to do that, even a ticket for the replays, we're going to level you up twice. The only thing we won't do is level you up to lifetime member. You really have to get in there on that level on your own. We promise as an alumni, you will never pay more. So if you looked at the NACWE Classy NACWE Sisters, the new classroom opportunity, and thought, wait a minute, I really want the whole year, but I only paid this much for NACWE membership, that's how much you will pay for a year of NACWE membership. So we're not going to ever up your price. And we'll put all the details you need for that in multiple places. You're not going to miss it. You'll get an email newsletter. You're going to get everything. So we want you to introduce yourself. Hey, Angela, if you're here today in the Zoom room or in the Facebook live streamed group, we want you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Did you do a live or a story or a reel last month? Share the link to that, because that was the challenge. We're getting ready to also offer prizes for that. So share. Tell us where you are. Tell us why you do what you do. And oops, did you write anything in October? Share a link to your blog or any other thing that you wrote, and tell us what you'll be writing on in November so we can pray for you and pray you through. We're going to start off, like I said, with Elayna. I'm not even sure how we met, but you might have been in NACWE before I was. And once we met, this guy was, there was no, well, for one thing, they created the Rhema Counseling Associates. Their entire team created that website. We were meeting in Irving at the coffee shop, multiple times. We did the passion test together. I've done all sorts of blog seminars with her and with her daughters. I think how we met, I realized it, is you guys, the three of you, the two older daughters, and you spoke at a NACWE conference because the girls had just written this awesome book and they'd been on TV. They were bestsellers immediately. It was absolutely adorable. And these two girls got up like they owned the world and talked about their project, and you talked about it with them. That's how we met. So kudos to you. We'll talk more about those girls. I'll put all of this in the chat room, and Danica will put it in the Facebook live stream for you so you'll know. And also Danica is creating what we're calling NACWE Ed Notes, Education Notes, a 2-page beautiful handout for you with Elayna's information on it and all that stuff. Now listen, I don't do this very often, but I'm going to do it really quickly. As cheesy as it might feel to read a bio, there is no bio like this one out there. So you guys who follow Elayna are like in for a challenge to walk in the shadow of Elayna. But I'm going to read her bio to you. Not everybody gives us a bio like this. I'm going to read it really quickly and turn the floor over to pray for us and turn the floor over to her. But I want you to hear this if you were wondering how to write a really great bio. This is a great template you might want to use, and I'll copy it and put it in the chat room for you so you can copy it and save the chat room. She's a single mom of 4 daughters. I've met 3 of these daughters. I haven't met the 4th one yet. She's been a mom entrepreneur for over 17 years. Best known for her award-winning blog, thepositivemom.com. It's adorable, all purple and teal, turquoise. It's inspired millions of moms over 158 countries to turn their once upon a time into their happily ever after. She's an avid storyteller, story strategist, and student of pain. She talks about that quite openly. Elayna has spoken on prestigious stages around the world and has collaborated and served as a marketing strategist for some of the most renowned transformational leaders of our time. You'll recognize some of their names. Born and raised in a slum in the Dominican Republic and a multiple time survivor, trauma survivor, multiple times. Elayna's mission is to provide moms with emotional wellness skills, strategies, and steps to find peace, break unhealthy cycles, and feel whole. Her testimony is powerful. Elayna holds a home and family studies certificate from Brigham Young University, Idaho, and is a certified facilitator of Aroma Freedom, Mastery of Self-Love, the Passion Test, I did that one, Dream Building, and the Success Principles. She's also a guerrilla marketing master trainer, as well as a graduate of the Steve Harvey School for Business Acceleration and the Steve Harvey School for Personal Transformation. They do a lot of great things, don't they? We just met his, in August, I met his, what you call her, manager. She manages their radio show. Elayna has been named one of the top Latina influencers in the United States, has been sponsored by over 300 brands, and has been featured on Fox, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS is like ABC, EFG, The Huffington Post, Telemundo, Latina, Univision, Good Morning America, and Despierta America, Entrepreneur on Fire, to get it, and other national and international media. Elayna is a Disney mom. Oh my goodness, if you go to thepositivemom.com, you'll see Disney stuff everywhere. And they've dressed her up like, I don't know, every character out, every female character out there, very beautifully. She's a musical theater lover, a geek-esque, can I borrow that one? A word nerd, can I borrow that one? A confessed hugaholic. She's passionate about diversity, inclusion, and representation of all humans in the media. Her philosophy is be positive and you'll be powerful. Very quotable. One I always remember, she said to her girls in front of me, a man is not a plan. God has a plan for you. It might or might not include a man, but he's not your plan. I just loved that. And her daughters are amazing. You get to meet Alyssa next week. I'm going to stop share, pray for us, and turn the floor over to her. And she said she'd hang off with us a little bit longer if anybody had questions we didn't get to. So I love that. We'll honor that. We'll record that as well. Oh my word, I didn't push the record button. No, I did. Okay, good. Shh. Getting ahead of myself here. Let me pray for us. Father God, I love November. I love focusing the whole NaNoWriMo thing and focusing on writing more. It's always an inspiration. I always increase my writing during that time. Oh, forgot. Let me make. I'm grateful for the focus. Lord, our blog, our NACWE blog is like number 13 of the top 30 blogs for Christian businesses in the nation. We're proud of that. We love that. We want to keep that up, especially if our blogs and our writing opportunities reach people, draw them closer to you, Lord. Encourage them in their work and their calling that you've given them. I know Elayna has done that for me. Her daughters have done that for me. I pray a blessing over Elayna right now, Lord, and her power hour. I know she will offer nuggets that we'll hold on to for years to come. I pray a blessing over these 4 beautiful daughters. I pray a blessing over their work, over her health, Lord, over their holidays as well, and over their 2022, since we're getting so much closer to a new year. I pray a blessing over everyone who listens today, and the nuggets they take away that were specifically for them from you, Lord. May we be diligent to do what you've called us to do with confidence, level up our blogging and writing in any way you ask us to, be obedient to that, and honor you every single step of the way. What more could we ask for? And we ask these things in Jesus Christ's holy name. Amen. The floor is yours. I couldn't have left anything out, but if I did, please fill in the blanks. Let me make you a co-host so you can share your slides, because I didn't do that. Done. All right. Unmute you, please, and pop in. The floor is yours. You're muted.
Can you see it?
There you go. Yes, you can see it. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm so moved with your introduction, and I'm just really honored to be here with all of you. I, have a prayer in my heart that it will definitely be helpful and profitable for you, so that this hour will be something that you reap a lot of, the harvest of this hour will be powerful for you and a blessing. And so today, we're going to talk about how to create impact, influence, and income with your blog. And the first thing that I want to share is this slide that represents some of the brands that I've worked with, that my blog has been blessed to be sponsored by a lot of brands and a lot of companies. And everything that I'm going to share today is what these people are practicing and looking for. And so it's really, I've distilled like the top guidelines and guardrails so that you can be at that level. So when you said up level, I immediately wanted to share that we as small businesses, we have the opportunity that big and powerful brands have, because we don't have to have a small mindset. So we have a small business, but a big mindset. So today we're gonna use a five-step system to get started with creative content, apply a formula to prioritize that content, and then get a checklist to amplify that content. So, and a bit more if we can. So there, right out of the bat, I want to say that there are many other ways to monetize your content that doesn't have to do with just advertising your business. So if you're willing or desire to get more out of your blog, there are these 5 ways in which I monetize my content, and I also teach others how to do. So the first thing is affiliate placement. And if you create a free Amazon affiliate account, you can get started with that right away. And what you do is you place a link to whatever Amazon product you are citing or quoting on your blog, and then you can get income from that. Ambassadorships it's like I shared, partnering with brands, and they pay you to write about what you were going to write about anyway, which is really cool. And also they amplify it to their channels. So for example, when I partner with Disney, not only do I have ideas to create on my blog and I create that content, but also they share it on their accounts, and I'm able to get more amplification from that. Ad placement is something that you do when you have a lot of influx and traffic to your blog. And what happens is an agency will place ads so that you can get passive income. Additional services is something that we do as entrepreneurs, and basically is just simply offering our services to help others through our blog. And additional products means something tangible that you also use on your blog. So wherever you are in that category, you're going to get a strategy for that, because it helps with all of these. And I would love to know in the chat, where do you see yourself with these 5 ways to create income? And I love this quote, and I wanted to share it because a good friend of mine, Oren Hudson, I used to be a chess champion growing up in my slum, and he wrote a book about chess, but it's also about how chess, it parallels success. And he says, it doesn't matter who you are, if you know the combination to a lock, it will open for you. And so when you see all these brands and that my blog has won awards so that I get all these million views, it's not because I'm 4'8". So if you're over 4'8", it can happen for you too. So there's no like special combination other than knowing these things that I'm going to talk to you about. So this is going to give you the combination, and that story that you may have about why you can't be a writer, or you wouldn't succeed with your blog, or, maybe it's just her and her luck, and, whatever it is that you're telling yourself, I would like for you to see yourself as God sees you, and understand that he has placed, Karen and NACWE here to teach you these combinations, so that the lock easily and effortlessly happens to open for you. So I wanted to share that before we got started. So I love this verse, and it's one of my favorites. I can't really say favorites anymore because I love all of them. But this one comes to me anytime I'm feeling disheartened, or disappointed, or I'm in a dark place. It immediately comes to my awareness, and it's fear not. I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I'll strengthen you. I'll help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And to me, this is beautiful because, it's not easy to put ourselves out there. We experience fear of rejection, fear of not doing it perfectly, fear of, do I have the right thing to say? Is this even worth it? And so throughout my blogging journey, my main tip that I can give you for success is holding on to these truths. Because without these truths, any little combination that I give you is going to be empty. The truth is that if he gave you a vision, he'll give you provision. And he has already given you permission. So this is exactly what you need to hear every time you're thinking about putting something out there, is he's got you. He already wrote it for you. And, the Lord will sustain you as you go in on this journey. Amen.
Help us put that quote in the chat room. If he gave you.
If God gives you a vision, he gives you provision, and he's given you permission.
Got it.
Yeah. So what I'm going to share is pretty much a checklist for a successful blog post. First, let me tell you, the way that I know that someone knows how to blog is, number one, the distinction. Your blog is the whole thing. It's the full container of what you're sharing. Your blog post is each entry. So when you're sharing your blog, you're not sharing your blog, you're sharing your blog post. So my blog is thepositivemom.com, and my blog post is whatever entry that I'm sharing. So first, know that distinction. So a blog post that gets found on Google, because people don't go past the first page. Very rarely they go past the first page. And even within that first page, they have a choice between those top answers. So this is basically what has made me successful. That's me with my little baby right there. And one of my blog posts and posts that went viral, and it happened to be a sponsored collaboration. You can hear my baby screaming. Sponsored collaboration with Ergo Baby. So basically, these are the things that I put into place. And I love this because when we are writing, this blog post kind of tells us that we are messengers. So writing is a calling. It is not a skill. And, when you think about, oh, I'm not a good writer, I'm not a born writer, I, flunked writing. It's okay. This is a calling. It says, as the cold of snow in time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him, for he refreshes the soul of his masters. So you're really in the work of the Lord when you are doing this. And if you do it with that single eye in his glory, then it's going to be something that is going to be successful. And this right here is a screenshot because I wanted just to talk about SEO really quickly and basically let you know that this is important. But how you go, a lot of people start saying blog posts starts with SEO, but this is really the result of a lot of background stuff that happens before you get to that page. So I use WordPress and I recommend WordPress. I've spoken on a lot of WordPress stages around the world, and it's a lot of fun. And so SEO is really important to me. And if you don't have Yoast, if you have your WordPress, download the Yoast plugin. And this is something that's going to help you, optimize your post. But really the good things happen before this. So, and I'll explain this if we have time later on, but I don't want to get too technical. I just want to let you know that this is what happens afterwards. You want to make sure that you have internal links and all of that. But if you have that and you haven't done the first part that I'm going to talk to you about, then it's really not going to work. So the first thing, these are my 3 pillars. I really have 10, but I wanted to share 3 that are the most juicy and powerful. The first one is being focused and evergreen. The second one is helpful, which is, we're helping other people. We're in the service of God here, and authentic. And I'm going to go through each of those separately. And one of the things I really love this visual. One of the things that we need to really think about is that we are talking to fellow brothers and sisters, and we're just really telling them a story. That's the main concept of this. I call myself a storyteller, and I'll tell you the story about that in a little bit. But basically, you just start with a story and end the story, and within that story, then you weave the message that you want to teach. And so I have this visual because, it doesn't have to be a rule like, oh, you start and end here and it's a linear process. There really is no rule for blogging, which is so cool. It's not an article. I actually have a blog post called The Difference Between an Article and a Blog Post, because a blog post is a reflection of who you are and there are no rules in it. So the first thing is focused and evergreen. So the rule for this is basically, because we're talking about like the story has no rules, but these are the elements of the story. The first thing is the audience is going to be focused. So you're talking to one person, and in each entry, each major point, you're talking about a pain point of that person. So for example, when the pandemic hit, a lot of moms were coming to me from my community and saying, how do I talk to my kids about like what's happening in the schools, and we can't go back, and people are dying and people are sick, and this is, just horrible. So I didn't write a blog post, how to talk to your kids about COVID-19. Number one, COVID-19 and pandemic and any medical terms or controversial terms are going to be really penalized by Google. So try to stay away from those. So I took the overarching concept of this and said tragic news, because those were tragic news for the kid and traumatic and painful. And so when something else happened that year with George Floyd, and something else happened, in the White House, and something else happened with whatever is happening, this blog post is relevant. And it is relevant even when there's not a national thing in the news, and you just have to deliver the news that the puppy is sick. So this is something that is evergreen. It's timely only when I share on social media and say, if the puppy is sick, share this post. But on my blog post, it doesn't talk about puppy being sick, because there's going to be something new tomorrow. So that's, really helpful to know that you got to focus it on one audience. When you have any type of writing, whether you're writing a book, you're writing a blog post, you're writing an article, you're writing an essay, the most important things are 3 elements: the audience, the purpose, and the topic. And really the topic could be anything. And if you change the audience, the topic's going to change how you write it. If you change the purpose, it's going to change too. So if you're talking about tragic news in a comical way, it's going to be different than if it's inspiring, or if it's, in a way to proselyte, or in a way to convert, or in a way to sell something. So first thing that we do when we sit down is, okay, what's my topic? Who is my audience? And what is the purpose? So we say, you know how it says in Habakkuk, how do you say the Habakkuk? Okay, I'm trying to translate in my head, but basically it's like when you have no vision, everything perishes. So your blog post is going to die the minute that you don't have a purpose for it. So that's how we focus our content. And when I write for one person, and she's my imaginary friend. Her name is Mariela. She has 3 kids. They're in elementary school. One is a twin, so she's starting to get, all of the influences and peer pressure out there. And, there is one who is, really tiny and is starting to discover the world and entering kindergarten. So, all of these things are going to influence what I write and how I talk. But if my audience were moms who have, kids who are older and are, grandmothers, or kids of women who graduated college, then it would be a different feel and a different tone. So always focus your writing on your audience and your purpose, and then the topic is going to work itself out. Let me see, do I need to look at the chat and see, or are you going to let me know if there's something that I need to?
We'll let you know. You did say, let me know how you're feeling about these things. And there was a comment from me that said, I like just starting at the beginning, I totally get the affiliate thing. That seems like something I can bite off and chew, but the others are somewhat more intimidating, which is why we do, what we do. And then the rest of the chat room right now is me quoting you like a crazy person.
Okay. So I like that you said that, intimidation, because when I had my first collaboration with a brand, I lived in a roach infested apartment, and I was, not sleeping because I was trying to create a business and also worked 40 hours with 2 toddlers at home. And it just so happened that I was noticed by Cadillac, of all brands. It wasn't like the grocery store across the street, you know what I mean? It was Cadillac, and they said, we want you to test drive our new car and post it on your pages. And there was only MySpace and my blog. There was no Facebook back then. I mean, I started in 2004. And so I'm like, oh, that's super cool. I was intimidated. That was exactly underline and highlight that word. But I was like, oh, I can do that. So they gave me the car for, I think, 3 weeks. He gave me all of these gift cards to like the zoo. I mean, the Philharmonic, going on the, how do you call those? Like these boats on the swamp. And it was just like so fun. We went everywhere in this car, and we just took pictures and shared. And so at the end of the time, I was like, thank you. This was fun. I talked about it. And then like 3 weeks or a month after that, I get a check in the mail. And I was just so confused. And I called them and I'm like, I think didn't, like, where is this coming from? And they said, oh, you didn't send us an invoice. So we just kind of guessed the fee based on our budget. And that's how I found out that this was even possible. So, like I said, if he gives you a vision, he gives you provision, and he gives you permission. So you don't need permission from anybody. And literally, these brands are just looking for a profile. And, there is a shortage of authentic Christian women sharing our stories out there. And so anyone who is willing to be authentic and to make that connection is going to be absolutely, it's so easy to partner with brands. And they will find you. You just have to kind of put on your blog that you are open to partner with brands, and or that you are PR friendly. That's another term that you write on your blog description. And then they will pitch at you, or you could pitch to them and say, you know, I have an idea. But it's just very simple conversation, and anyone can do it. So thank you for bringing that up. So these are some of the comments that I get on my blog posts. And basically, I wanted to share them because, you know, the glory is not mine, obviously. But these are the kind of transformations or the kind of impact that we can make. You know, if a message that someone needs, a message that is going to inspire someone, you know, and everything, that's like really the main thread, is that they all have the word need in there. And that is basically all the comments of my blog post. Nobody says like, wow, your English is very good looking. That's a Celia Cruz quote. Like, that's how she said it, because she didn't know English very well. But, you know, they don't praise my English. They don't praise my grammar. They don't praise like my images are so bright. They really needed it. And so I want you to think about this and like, can you be someone's answer to their prayer today through your writing, through your story? Because when I see this, it's like, these people prayed for this answer, and God used me to give it to them. And God wants to use each of us, but, you know, are we going to let him? I always tell the story to my daughters, and they make fun of me because, you know, I'm a sassy mom. And I say, you know, don't be John the Baptist. No disrespect, but like, here comes Jesus to be baptized of him. And he says, I'm not worthy. And then Jesus says, well, this is written and you're going to do it because, you know, I'm Jesus. You know, and your false sense of humility is getting in the way of the destiny and the purpose that God has. Think about that again. It's not humility if it's going to frustrate God's plans. It is not positive if it's going to prevent what really needs to happen from happening. So it was, you know, he rebuked him right there. Like, no, you're going to do this. I didn't ask you if you were worthy. I asked you, I just came to be baptized. So it's not about worthiness here. We're talking about the mission. If you have this message, this beautiful service, this beautiful product, this beautiful, you know, just mission that you have believed that God has put in your heart and in your hand, then let's be obedient and set that false humility aside. Yeah, can I get an amen in the chat? Because I just get I just get really lit up with this. I mean, I have like back pain, but it's like it went away for that minute. So the next thing I wanted to share is this story that I never wanted to tell. And I literally named it that because I didn't know what to name it other than I'm sharing this. And it's just like the hardest thing that has ever happened to me. And you can see that there's a trigger warning because we do want to include that when we share something that is deeply disturbing or could really, you know, bring up some feelings on people. And this is one of them. And I call myself a student of pain. And you can see that I have a full section on my blog, first page, that says learn from my pain, because I believe that my testimony needs to go out there because that's why God has preserved me, is to share that it is possible I have like a little clip here. I don't know if you can see it, that says hope. And that is really the key for this is, there are some things that are difficult to share, and you don't have to share them if you don't feel, like you have prayed and it's not your time. But if God is moving you to do it, it is going to really, really help people. And that's what we're in the business of doing. So this is a picture of the slum where I grew up. And so I usually share this because, this is like my crew. This is how we lived. We had like dirt floors, and we lived in a little tin hut. And it was just like really extreme poverty, and what you see on the sponsorship on the sponsorship ads. And so that's me right there. And, you can kind of see the oversized shirt because we had donations and hand-me-downs. And yeah, that's me right there. So this story that I'm going to share real quickly is about when I was, and that's me, by the way, very immodest, as you can see. My topless picture. And one day my brother and I went in the back of our house. There was a ravine, that this was our house. There was a ravine right below, like behind and below, in which there was a landfill. And we went and we found all these treasures in the trash, because other people's trash is another person's treasure. And like we found this magazine, and we're like, oh, eclipse, and we're reading the eclipse because we couldn't pronounce it. And that's when God gave me my first vision that I can recognize and remember, of this, place where kids can play and they're free and they can read and they have jeans and tennis shoes and parents who can spend time with them. And what came to me is, you need to learn this language. Like God literally told me in my heart that I needed to learn English, which is unreasonable for someone in a slum where people don't speak English ever. And you don't have the money to enroll yourself in lessons. But for 4 years, I saved up to learn this new language. And so today we're learning a new language, because, every time that you learn something is going to elevate you. It's going to allow you to level up. But you do need some technicalities here and there. And it is a little tricky in the beginning when you're learning a new language. But once you get it, you're, just coasting through it. And actually, if I didn't obey at that time, I wouldn't have the life that I have today, because I can, bore you to death about like all of the doors and opportunities that opened up. So when Karen brings a speaker, and you have a NACWE theme who has, that has been inspired by God, and classes that have been inspired, it's because, that is the language that you need to learn in that opportunity. And this month is blogging and writing, which is going to help you level up. So these are some of the posts that I've shared, and they represent pain. Like now it's 12 years cancer-free, praise the Lord. And I actually just celebrated my 25th year of extra life, since I was in a coma for 8 days, and God preserved me, which is crazy because I don't look 25. I probably look 22. But anyways, this is the first P of authentic content, is pain. So there are 3 P's that we're going to cover. So when you talk about your pain, you're really opening up for other people to be there with you, to be connected, and to really believe and be moved, because God wants you to move people to action. And when you share your pain, you can connect with them as brothers and sisters, and you can definitely move them to action. The second one is purpose. So I always share I think you were there, Karen, in this group right there when I was teaching that workshop. And, because of all the things that have happened to some other, so many people that I know and that have happened in my life, my purpose is motherhood. So what is your purpose? Again, the purpose is part of that writing formula that we talked about before. So when you talk about your purpose, people are going to feel that because it's a God-given purpose. So you're really resonating with the word here. And then your personality. So don't be afraid to be goofy if you're goofy. Don't, try to not be goofy if you're not. Like if you're shy, be shy. If you're an introvert, be an introvert. There's no need to be like anybody else. Karen said, about the characters, and here it is. Like we get paid to go to Disney and on the Disney cruise and all of these things because that's one of the things in my personality, and it comes from my pain and my purpose because I didn't have a childhood where I could really have this playtime, and I'm making up for it now that I'm 25. With a daughter in college, by the way. 25 with a daughter in college. So I'm really 44. So that equals impact, in income, and influence. And these are some of the pictures of the red carpet, national media, and winning awards and all of that stuff doesn't happen because I'm shorter than you. It happens because I have been obedient, and he has blessed me because he had a plan and a purpose for me, and he wants to prosper me. And when I let him, then he does. Ta-da! It's very simple. When I don't let him, then it doesn't happen because I don't allow it. So, this is a partnership, and he really wants to bless us, and we really need to move our feet when he tells us to move. So pain, purpose, personality. That's what you need in your stories. It doesn't have to be straight line. It doesn't have to be, flowery. It doesn't have to be, there's Grammarly if you think that it's not going to be correct, because nobody wants typos and things, but really nobody cares. I probably have tons of typos, and the transformation of my readers happens anyway, because it's really with love, with a single eye to his glory, with, using my testimony to move people to action, because I believe in my message. So this, is like the best quote ever because I'm quoting my kids, but I'm also reading this verse. We were speaking, or they were speaking, we were all speaking, but they were speaking on the stage, and somebody asked them, you're so young. They were like 11 and 12 at that moment. It doesn't scare you what other people are going to say. And like, how do you have the confidence to just share and be kids sharing about these topics? And they said, well, you know what? Fear is cast away by love. And so when we publish our blog posts, it's about love, and we don't have any fear when we focus on the love that we have for the kids that we want to touch. And ever since then, I have, kind of have a draft and then close my eyes to publish a blog post, because it's about love. I really focus on those people who need it, and they tell me that they need it. You saw it. I'm not lying. Because, that's another thing, like, oh, isn't it bragging? It's not bragging if it's true. So here's the thing. We don't want to be liars, because that's like, there are like 3 or 4 commandments that talk about being honest and, not lying and, all of that stuff. Like, but when you don't show the good parts of you, you hide your talents, you hide your experience, you hide your achievements. You're hiding the truth. You're not fully honest with people if you don't tell them you're awesome at whatever you're awesome. And we're very good at saying like, oh yeah, I'm not good at this and I'm not good at that. And I totally failed at this. And it's true, right? Because try to do a craft, Elayna, and it's not going to look like the Pinterest crafts because I'm not crafty. And if you get me in a place where I have to do math, you're going to find tears or like undone math problems. So that's okay. But we also need to own our gifts because they were given by God and because it's honest. So when you say, my readers need me, and it's true, then you are taking on a mission that has given to you from above. And it's not bragging at all because it's true. So let's talk about that process real quick because, we're going to run out of time. And basically, I usually do this in a room with people that are going to do it right now. So it's not going to be very good looking. So I want you to follow along with me. The first step is sourcing. So one of the things that I really believe is that God talks to us in ideas. That's the first thing. Like, in the beginning was the word, and then he created things in its likeness because they already existed. And then they materialized, right? So he created the world and he created it in sequence and in order. And I want all of you to unmute and tell me, what did he think of these things? That they were what? He saw that they were, when God created the animals, what did he say? He saw that they were
very good. Good.
They were good. You mean they weren't perfect?
Good. Good.
They were good. They were good. So that's what we're going for. If God goes for good, then we can go for good because, the enemy of good is great and the enemy of perfect is great. I don't know all of these phrases, but what I know is that whatever we create doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good. And if it comes from God, it's good. It's so simple. Anyways, he talks to us in ideas. So first of all, we're going to sit down and we're going to source. And usually I just say, hey, Karen, talk to the Nika, and the Nika give her ideas, and Karen give her ideas, and Kim give, who else is in the room?
Angela was.
Angela, okay. So Kim give Angela ideas and Angela give Kim ideas. So usually it's like that because, when somebody else tells us the ideas, we kind of like value it more because we don't really value the ideas that come through us sometimes. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a timer if you're by yourself. Let's say 5 minutes. That's good enough. And you're going to write every idea. You're going to ask a question like, how can I, how many blog posts do I need to create, and what do they need to be about? What are some topics that I need to create this month? And you're going to write it at the top of the page, and then you're going to put a timer of whatever amount of time you have, and then you're going to start writing down whatever comes to your mind. So if he says, write about janitors, then you're going to write that down, even though it doesn't make sense, and I don't even know why that came to my mind right now, but I'm going to write it down because I want to honor all ideas. When we judge ideas, good or bad, we really are not in the creative process. We really, are not honoring God's spirit. Because there is whatever reason why janitor came to my mind, it'll be revealed later. Right now is not the time for me to judge whether that's ridiculous or silly or whatever word you use. So just write down all of the ideas. After that is done, you're going to sort the ideas and say, what ideas have an expensive charge to them? Like, I feel really on purpose with this. And at that moment, some things are going to be revealed, even like, oh, janitor. Okay, I think I know what that means. Let me circle that. So you're going to circle or square or whatever, you like to do. I like to circle things in a very like doodly kind of way because, I'm a creative. So you're going to sort them that way by things that make you happy, give you life, you feel the spirit when you look at them. Then you're going to select. What are you going to select? Well, things that are going to help your audience, because again, we talked about audience, we talked about purpose. So you're going to select those that your audience will be happy about. So the first is about you, because God is giving it to you. He wants you to own it. The second one is going to be about your audience, because they are the receivers of the message. So as a messenger, you're going to be happy. As a receiver, they're going to be served. The third step is going to be to schedule it. So you're going to create a content calendar. And this is good for any process. So it doesn't have to be a content calendar. It could be any really thing that you want to do. But in this case, you're going to create a calendar and say, that would be a good topic for November. And I'm sure that this is how Karen got to writing and blogging in November. It's like, that's what God showed her, and she was obedient. And then serving the idea means sitting down and writing it out and publishing it. So this is, the process that I use. I create my content calendar in one sitting for the entire year, just by timing myself and saying, this is, the high level topic that comes to me. God has plans to prosper you. He will come through when you sit down and I always tell my daughters, when God sees what you're working on, he sees what you're waiting on. And we want God to just give us the ideas. We're busy doing something else or complaining about how we don't have anything to write about, or, we want him to just show up for us. But we first need to show up for him and for ourselves and set that timer, write down those ideas. So is that resonating with you? And is the process clear enough that you can follow it? I want to make sure, because usually I do this in groups and breakout.
It's absolutely doable. I remember doing that in those groups with you. And then your comment, when God sees what you're working on, he sees what
you're waiting on.
Waiting on.
Yeah.
Is that
that's the indication. That's the signal.
It goes along with the quote that you gave us for this whole presentation, which was, do you remember?
Yeah. The one that I sent to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we teach the message that we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it serves you as well as it serves your audience.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's really loving also the idea of casting out fear, because with love, with God's love.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
We have one person in the audience who resonated with the Highlights magazine, because she said she sent an article, or more than one, I don't remember, to the Highlights magazine when she was 11 or 12 years old. That's too cool.
Oh, I love that. Oh, so sweet. That was like, I joked with my brother that we had a subscription, because we knew when they threw it away, when they were going to throw it away, whoever threw it away. And so we were waiting like, oh my gosh, when are we going to get the magazine this month? Like, we have to go back to
all those magazines are, but I still get them delivered to my house for my granddaughter.
I'm subscribed for my kids, and they have one for toddlers too. It's called Five. High Five.
High Five.
Oh, okay, so this is one of the strategies. I have a lot of them, but this one will serve you so much. I mean, like, you're gonna fill up your calendar if you're really on fire with this. It's going to be awesome. And it's called compounding content. And the way it works is, I'm just going to use the janitor because apparently God wants me to use it. And basically, let's say that we're writing a pillar post about janitors, right? So the pillar post is like the overarching article that we need to publish. And basically, all of the other posts are going to be called cluster posts. And this is, are we out of time yet? Because I want to finish this one. Yeah,
keep going. Did you mean to stop share?
Oh, no.
Because I know you have a promotional slide to go.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a few more minutes. So.
Okay, so let me do the presenting. I don't know how to start. Okay, there we go. So if we have a few more minutes, that's great. So basically, this is how it's going to materialize into blog posts. So the pillar post is going to be, something about everything you need to know about janitors. I'm just going to call it that. So then the cluster posts are going to be like what janitors do. When janitors, so you're going to use these prompts, and I want you to probably take a screenshot or, pause this and write it all down. I have like so many other prompts and formulas, but I just kind of gather some of the most, important ones, because with one idea from that list, you're going to write all of these cluster posts, and then you're going to have all of this content that you're going to be, creating forever. So the dangers that janitors face, myths and misconceptions about janitors that you didn't know, understanding janitors exposed, signs that janitors are overworked, assessment of what a good janitor looks like. Like you can just, go with that. Basically, it doesn't matter if you don't even know the content, as you can tell. You can start creating very important content that's going to serve your audience. And I'm sure you already know, you already have some ideas in mind, but these are very, very simple. Right now, for an article to rank on Google, it has to be over 1,500 words. But if you schedule it as a question, then it could be 300 words, and it will be considered a good, piece of content. Because if you go to Google right now, before it used to be like just articles and results when I started doing this, but now they have like the other things people ask. And so if you can get on that those questions, it would be amazing. So, what are some steps to become a janitor? What are some mistakes that janitors make? What are some skills you need to become a janitor? What are some strategies that janitors use to be better at work? What are the top habits of a great janitor? So this is fun, but in reality, it's really everything you need. It's to sit down, make that list, use that process, and then go to work with all of these ideas. And then let me see, I'm going to skip all those formulas because I didn't want to really share that. And the last thing I'm going to say is that in order for your content to be considered good on Google, it has to be fresh. And that means that it's, something that if you go to the first page of Google and you see that somebody published a blog post about janitors 2 years ago, then yours is going to probably rank because it's newer. It has to be quality, so it's more focused, and it has a story and it's engaging. It has to be relevant, so when you search for janitor, it's going to be about janitors. And it has to have authority. And this is something that you necessarily don't have immediately. It took me a long time to create authority in my blog, but as you write more, your authority is going to increase, because I started at 0 just like everybody else. So the more I did it, the better it got. And when I look at my first blog post, I cringe. But they got me here. So I'm really proud of them. Those are more precious than any blog post that I write today. And last but not least, I want you to take a screenshot of this, this little, I would say, checklist of how to market your content, because content marketing is content plus marketing. It's not just writing. And again, if it's not true, then it's a lie. But if it's true, it's not bragging. So if you're saying, you know, I have something that will help you a lot and you really believe that it'll help somebody, tell them, because they're not going to find it on their own. And tell them to share it, and tell them when it's coming out, and tell, you know, go live and tell them that it came, and then tell them that you have it available. And then when it aligns with an anniversary, or, you know, whatever holiday or whatever thing that's timely in the news, share it again. The people that saw it are going to just smile. The people that didn't see it are going to be grateful. So that's what I have for you. You can find me on thepositivemom.com. Let me see if I can find that slide. Oh, I need to share this. Maybe I can have Danica read it.
Beautiful. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great.
Yes. The world is waiting for your words. The world is waiting for your light. The world is waiting for God's message that's going to come through you. We teach the message that we need. So thank you so much. You can find me at The Positive Mom. You can follow me at The Positive Mom. On my website, you can see my coaching. You can see, you can read my blog posts. You can ask me any questions. You can't hear my kids screaming there. So this is an exclusive, and I'm really grateful for this time.
So, and I am so grateful. I couldn't be more grateful. I knew we would have tons of fun. I love laughing at you, with you. I'm putting one of the screenshots, and Danica put some screenshots in there too. So are you planning on some of the most impactful moments I have had have been with you in person? Are you planning anything coming up in 2022 in the Fort Worth area?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I'm planning. Mm-hmm.
We'll know about that by watching the blog or the Facebook page or group. Which one?
Yeah, on my Facebook page, it's facebook.com/thepositivemom, but I'll let you know as well. I'll send you an invitation. I always do.
And then since you'll be in the NACWE Elite group as a presenter again,
thank you.
Be sure and put it in there too.
Yes, absolutely. I will. Yeah, I miss, you know, gathering with everybody and really doing my thing, because that's when you feel really the spirit of how important this work is.
Any last questions before she signs off and I have clients coming?
Yeah.
I do that on purpose, really, so I won't dilly-dally too much. But
just want to say thank you. It was really good. Yeah.
So powerful.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear from Elissa, and maybe we'll put Alicia on the list for another topic. Maybe
that would be great.
I would love it, because I love listening to them. They're very comfortable in their presentations and in their own skin, thanks to you, I'm sure. So.
Oh, it's, you know, you just allow God's gifts to flourish in them, because they came with them.
You have definitely blessed us. There are lots of thank yous coming through, and may God bless you right back in return for your offering today. God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you. I'm really honored.
See you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Yes.